that I'm going to hand. So he did such a good job at one of our community meetings, we made him come back. And then this time he brought reinforcement and his boss, the fire chief. So I think it's all good though. Chief?
Thank you for coming out tonight, today, this evening. So I brought firefighter Nick Tanaka. He's our public education specialist, and he does this every day. I don't. But I'm going to share with you. Last time I had notes. This time I'm just going to make things up. So what is the fire department doing? After the fires, we worked together with Hawaii Wildfire Management Organization, National Fire Protection Association, and they brought in a class called ASIP, an ASIP training, Assessing Structure Ignition Potential. In that class, we learned how structures ignite when there's brush fires and wildfire. And the two main causes for structure ignition is brush, direct flame contact, brush growing too close to your home, and fires igniting that brush, which ignites your home. And the second one is ember ignitions. So embers can fly, over miles and fly on your home, around your home, igniting smaller materials that can ignite your home. So as we knew that, we came up with a 3-step mitigation plan. So the first thing we did was update the fire code. We needed to make the fire code clear to the public as well as our inspectors so that we're all on the same page. Yeah. And we're going to cover that on the next slide. The second part is the fuel break program. That is having that separation from structures with fuel breaks in place. And then the third is an educational brochure that gives you education of what you can do around your home for that ember ignitions. Okay, so the first part, fire code update. In December 2024, we got our amendments approved, and some of the significant changes are in section 1.16, notice of violation and penalties. We increased the fines. So HRS increased their fines to up to $2,500 per day. In our county codes, we have $1,000 per day for the first offense. If you have the same or similar offense the second time, then it's $2,500 per day. Yeah. A little bit about how our warning notice and our violation notices work. When we have a complaint or a concern, our inspector will go out and verify if your concern is in violation. If it is in violation, they're going to send a warning letter, warning notice. After they send the warning letter, you'll have 30 days to comply. Okay. So if you communicate with the inspector and you are showing progress, that inspector can extend that 30 days. Yeah. But after that 30 days, if nothing is done, a warning letter, a notice of violation letter was sent. And then that's kind of the same process. They give you have 30 more days to try and cut that, fix that violation. If the violation is not fixed within 30 days after the notice of violation, then the fines start. So we also have county vendors that we hire to clear the land, and we add that recovery fee to the daily fine. Okay. Moving on, section 1013.23, clearance of vegetation. So in the old code, the code says that you need to have clearance from 30 to 100 feet. So some people didn't know, would it be 30, would it be 50, is it 75, is it 100? We didn't have anything, so this time we tried to clear that up in our codes. Okay. The first part was clearance of vegetation from structures. So all structures will require clearance from brush. And so that first part is anything 18 inches and up to 3 feet in height will require 30 feet of clearance. Over 3 feet and up to 6 feet will require 50 feet of clearance. And over 6 feet and up to 9 feet will require 75 feet of clearance. And then anything over 9 feet will require 100 feet of clearance. And you guys all had that brochure. Well, most of you, it went to every home and PO box. It shows those distances. And Nick is going to cover more about that. Second part is fuel breaks. So when in large vacant lands, half an acre or more, if the land is coming up to your developed area, we're going to require fuel breaks. So that one only has two different clearances, 50 feet and 100 feet. So if your home is, if there's brush within 50 feet of your structure, then we'll require 50 feet clearance from the property line. And then if your brush is over 6 feet, then we'll require 100 feet of clearance from the property line. Okay. And then, so Nick will present our fuel break program and our educational brochure.
Aloha kākou. Yeah, so Nick Tanaka, I'm the public education specialist, and yeah, I do this almost every day. So it sounds like it's a lot of information, and it's one of the reasons that we've created the brochures, mailing it out to all of the houses, and also the fuel break program. So last year we had 3 different meetings with a lot of the large landowners throughout the county, met with different agencies to go over this upcoming policy change to kind of give a little bit of a heads up, because some of these organizations and entities have very large areas of land that needed to be cleared. And for the most part, a lot of them were very proactive, asking us questions, clarification, so that they could essentially kind of get a head start. And then, like Chief was saying, we sent out a letter basically letting them know, hey, our inspections are going to be coming up. So 100 different properties were notified, large landowner properties were notified of this fuel break program, and we actually already started our inspections this month. And for the west side, I just looked at our spreadsheet today, so for the west side we're about 50% of the way through those inspections for that fuel break. So we're making good progress on that. So how we came up with that was trying to determine the areas that were essentially a greater risk based on many different factors: vegetation, fuel loads, proximity to structures, neighborhoods, and in partnership with HWMO, and our GIS team with the county, we put together a map to try and identify these areas that we wanted to focus on and create this initial set of fuel breaks. And then the areas are basically set up where we're going to be doing annual inspections. So basically all of these landowners got a nice letter, a map of the areas that they needed to clear, and then they essentially know that June, July, we're going to be coming through and inspecting. And essentially what we should be seeing every single time is it's already cleared, and we shouldn't have to essentially send them any warning letters at this point. This is one example of one of our fuel break areas up in Ka'anapali. So you can see that bright red, yeah? So 100-foot fuel break running along the back of that neighborhood, yeah? And that is 100 feet from property line, okay? So it's kind of two parts of responsibility. One part of that responsibility is going to be the large landowner with that fuel break from the property line, and then also upon the homeowner, because if we have these fuel breaks created and someone still has really tall brush in their backyard and that ember comes from 2 miles away and lands in that brush next to their house still has a potential to burn. Yeah? So it's kind of everybody taking responsibility for managing our risk. The educational brochure, so hopefully almost everybody got these nice orange brochures that we worked really hard on. Yeah, sounds all right. Okay, so some of our fire code stuff is actually pictured right there. Yeah, so those distances, as well as this one portion right here where it talks about proximity of trees to roof line. And that's actually a really important piece because of the fact that trees and branches overhanging roofs are a really big hazard as far as structural ignition, because the leaf litter, right, the leaves, all the leaves and dried stuff from the trees or branches falling onto a roof creates that fuel load on top of a structure, which is a much higher risk for ignition. And then it has checklists, tips, also has informational links to our website and HWMO, and to give you guys, more information and other resources that are available. This is the blown up version. So you can see on the left where it has that grass heights and the different distances, and then that bottom corner where it has that 5 foot, yeah, that clarification, that 5 foot from roof line. This is a good zone graphic, and that's basically giving us the big picture when it comes to prevention of fire around our own home and how to keep our own home safe, and starting really right at that, especially that first 0 to 5 feet around our home. Yeah, when we looked at pictures of the houses, some of the houses that survived the fire, right, had that one down by the ocean and some of the ones in the neighborhood, you take a look at some of those pictures and look at the property around that house, around some of those homes, and you notice they're going to be like almost completely clear. Yeah, and that's a key factor to that whole thing. One of my close friends, their family home was in a small subdivision above Front Street. Most of her neighborhood was gone. Her home survived, but she was very particular about her the way her home was kept. And she had a patio around her home, but wasn't like a lot of our homes, including mine, where get toys and slippers or surfboards piled against the side of the house. Her house is very clean. Everything's put away, enclosed. And after a lot of the studies and classes and information that we've seen, having that essentially kind of good general housekeeping around your structure is what helps prevent that transmission of fire. And then this is our contact information. Should anybody have any questions, you have a area that you're very concerned about or you think is a possible violation, yeah, our email and phone number. Please keep in mind, we are a fairly small office. There are only so many inspectors, and we do try and get to everybody as in a timely manner as possible. I do have a couple things. So besides that fuel break program, we also have a WUI program, which is Wildland Urban Interface, which is essentially, so Field break program addresses the large landowners, right? The big open lots with lots of vegetation. The WUI program helps address those neighborhoods that abut those larger landowners, yeah? And that's where our partnership with HWMO really comes in handy, because they help people go through the FireWise program and get them through that process to help educate all these neighborhoods on, you know, really how to keep them safe and prepared for wildfire. Yeah, so we will go out and inspect, talk to the neighborhoods, and there's some people here that have been through different parts of the program, and we do come out as a group with HWMO, Maui Fire, representatives from DOFA, and we can, part of the process is that assessment of these communities and neighborhoods to help address their concerns and really get them prepared for wildfire. And then just a quick one, this closing parts. We do get a lot of calls and questions. Some of the most frequently asked questions to our office is definition of brush. What is brush? What are we talking about? So biggest thing is brush is essentially stuff you didn't plant, naturally occurring, whether it's natural or invasive or otherwise. You didn't plant it, it's already growing there. That's brush. Yeah. If you planted it and you maintain it well, we consider that ornamental. Yeah. So brush is our primary fire concern, and that includes certain, well, mainly one tree, which is haulekoa. Yeah. So a lot of the grasses and brush, but also haulekoa as well. Another one is, yeah, so ornamental plants around, near and around your home. As you learn about home hardening from groups like like HWMO, the biggest thing is how close is it to your house and how well is it maintained. If you water it all the time, you rake up all the leaves, everything is nice and clean, less of a fire hazard. If you plant one mock orange and the thing is 8 feet tall and has not been trimmed or cleaned in the past 15 years, that's probably a fire hazard. Yeah? Okay? So little differences. And then, you know, concerns with neighbors. Maui's a small community. We want people to get along. You have an issue with your neighbor, we're going to encourage you to talk to them in a friendly manner. You work together. Hey, you know, this is a potential fire risk. This is safer for everybody. But in the case that that doesn't work, yeah, please contact our office. Let us know. We can send an inspector out and try and address these concerns. Any other questions? You guys can scribble down and then ask us after. Okay? Mahalo.
Way he's in front of me.
Okay, good evening, everyone.